20 season, very exciting. We've got, well, it looks like fairly nice weather, although we've just had a tiny shower here. I'm Charlie Taylor, and alongside me is Sam Dalling, and this is very exciting. Every year when the T20 gets going, but even more so because there's a crowd in today, Sam.
Absolutely, Charlie. It's a delight to be here. And of course, the Essex game, that always adds a bit of extra edge between Somerset and Essex. We've just seen the tractor go over the bridge filled with hay bales. Very Somerset. It's nice to be back home in the Cooper Associates County Ground.
Yeah, very different to the scene we were looking at last year. I was about to say this time last year, actually. The T20's been brought forwards.
With us. If you want to do that and you want to get your photo on our big screen, use the hashtag #WeAreSomerset and you can tag in our Trade Nation, our principal Vitality Blast partner for this season. So tag in Trade Nation and use the hashtag #WeAreSomerset.
Hello and welcome to Taunton for this T20 opening match. Essex Eagles are the visitors here to take on Somerset under, well, what looked like blue skies for a large part of the afternoon, but there is a very short and hopefully quick shower happening right now. The players haven't gone inside, they're still warming up on the pitch. So loads to look forward to. There's a crowd involved here as well. They've already made, I guess most of them, their way into the stadium. I'm alongside Sam Dalling here for this T20 match brought to you by Trade Nation. Sam, welcome. It's great to be back watching a bit of T20.
Good evening, Charlie. Yes, isn't it wonderful when, as you said, you picked up the key point, the crowds are in. Sadly, there's a couple of umbrellas going up, which we don't like to see, but it's just so nice to have people back. I was here at the weekend, very lucky to be here at the weekend. The first wicket I saw was, of course, Tom Abel taking a wicket, and the roar from the crowd, I'm getting chills down my spine even thinking about it. It was absolutely magnificent.
It's been a long time coming. I remember last year watching these games in, well, it was late in the season then, sort of late August, September, under the lights. Very different time of year now. We're in midsummer, so actually, although this is a 6:30 start, not really expecting the lights to take hold that much. Even by 10 o'clock it's probably still going to be fairly light, but we will see how that all plays out. As I mentioned, a little bit of rain around, nothing to be too concerned about here. Sam's been taking a look at the lineups, and what are we expecting from the teams that we've been seeing from firstly Somerset but also Essex as well today. There's a debutant in the Somerset side.
I know, it's very exciting now. There is a lot of young talent on Somerset books, but there is also some, well, what's the polite way of putting it, not so young talent, and I'm really delighted to see Jack Brooks in the lineup. He's been here a couple of years, but actually this is his first T20 game since August 2018. He's been bowling superbly well in the warm-up games, and I think he deserves his shot, particularly if you think at one point over the winter, I think he had a double operation. He basically had both legs and one hand out of action because he broke his finger in the Bob Willis Trophy final, and here he is. Well, not redemption, he doesn't need redeeming, but he's made his way back to full fitness and got a spot in the squad.
Yeah, good for him, and he's someone who keeps his fans up to date a lot on social media. The amount of rehab that has gone into it, especially I think it was Achilles, wasn't it, for him to come back from that is really tough. And actually he was supposed to be joining us here in the box. He's been called up, so I'm just waiting for my turn. Maybe next game Then Sam, do you fancy making your debut?
I know, I think you're next in line, Charlie. But yeah, he was a late call-up. We were expecting to have his insight into the bowling world, but I'm sure we'd obviously much prefer to see him out there taking wickets, as he was in the twos. I don't know if you saw the wicket he got on Monday. Got a lot of lift and bounce there. A bit of pace in the old boy, so that's exciting to have him.
Interesting you mentioned that, because there's a few performances to pick out from there. In particular, a 4-ball spell that we want to mention from Casey Aldridge, getting some really high quality batsmen from the Glamorgan 11.
It doesn't get much better, does it? I mean, is it a double hat trick? 4 wickets in 4 balls? I saw it described as that. I didn't know if that would be 6, but certainly, I mean, I'm not going to knock 4 wickets in 4 balls. And what did we say it was? David Lloyd, Kieran Carlson, Marnus Labuschagne, and who was the other one he got?
Cook.
God, of course, Chris Cook, the skipper. So basically, he's taken out Glamorgan's entire top order in 4 balls. Quite a performance from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing him potentially during this season, not mentioned in the starting 11. Let's quickly talk about Essex Eagles then. Somerset's fierce rivals in red ball recently. They've not been as difficult to defeat in white ball, although Essex, of course, winners of this competition just 2 years ago. Yeah,
that's right. They won in 2019 thanks to a good all-round effort, but Simon Harmer on finals day was absolutely superb. I think he had 7 wickets across the day, going for about 34 runs in 8 overs, and it was a superhuman performance from him. But as you said, they struggled a bit last year in this competition. They didn't really get much momentum. I think they finished 5th, only won a couple of games. They did have a tie, and those were very odd, because as you can imagine, I actually saw 2 ties last year, and usually you'd have the crowd, the tension, and there was just none of that, and so the players just shake hands at the end and walk off, and it all felt a bit surreal. But anyway, I've digressed. Yes, Essex, I think they've got Jimmy Neesham come in, who will provide some firepower, but they're missing Cameron Delport. They had Adam Zampa a couple of years ago when they won the title. Ravi Bopara isn't there anymore. He played in 2019, and it was the first year without him, so there's a lot on the shoulders of people like Tom Westley and Varun Chopra, who had a relatively poor year by his standards. So definitely going to be an interesting game anyway.
Yeah, and in the same way that Somerset are missing Craig Overton and Jack Leach, although Leach unlikely to play in this format, it will be Lawrence missing from the Essex squad as well, who will be expected to be in that starting 11 tomorrow at Edgbaston, which will see 17,000 fans in watching England against New Zealand, so that's going to be worth keeping an eye on as well. But back to today, the sun has come out, Sam, while we've been talking there about the Essex and Somerset teams, which is great news. A bit of catching practice going on in front of us here. We're back in the commentary box this year, somewhere we were banned from last year. we are back. I say banned from, it was just more convenient to be downstairs, I think, for various reasons. But we're back up here, so we've got a great view from the gods looking down on this, and I'm expecting a really interesting match. It's really hard to tell at the start of the season, before we've seen anything. T20 is so hit and miss, quite literally, that you don't really know what to expect. You don't know how teams are warming up. We can only go on the sort of second 11 T20 games and the red ball, which is not really always a good way of judging how a T20 team's going to perform.
Well, quite. I mean, I tell you what, it's not a place to be if you're scared of heights up here. It's the first time I've been up here. We are a long way up, but yeah, there's the beauty of the season so far, as we've had that 8 or 9 rounds of red ball cricket, but it hasn't given much time to prepare. They literally finished on Sunday, and then actually credit to a lot of the lads, they were out playing twos cricket Monday, Tuesday. It's been amazing. I don't know if you've been flicking through the scorecards for the last week or so, and some of the players playing second 11 cricket has been, well, very unusual lineups. I think Notts were playing Essex in their most important game of the season in red ball cricket, yet their twos had Hales Patel and Pete Trigo, Josh Ball. It shows very different lineups. T20.
Yeah, and that is quite fun, isn't it? You know, someone like Labuschagne, who you'd be expecting to be one of the top scorers in the Ashes down under later this year, playing second 11 cricket for Glamorgan against Somerset, which is that's kind of what we love about cricket, though, isn't it? That actually players do that kind of stuff. That it's very different to something like football, where you're very unlikely to see someone like Rashford turn out for the Manchester United under 21s or whatever it would be the equivalent of. Anyway, we are getting slightly digressed there as we put our heads towards football. Loads going on for us here on this show. Looking forward to bringing you live coverage. It should look really, really good at the what's going to happen for the rest of the day. So plenty more to come here on the live stream here on the Somerset County Cricket website. Loads that we're looking forward to. We're going to be taking a look behind the scenes now.
Big welcome to all Somerset fans to the first episode of Behind the Wyvern.
Again, on reflection from last year, is that a little bit of uncertainty, lacking that clarity in key moments. People coming after me, I'm not quite sure.
Vance Wallace says he's a golden boot scorer this year.
Golden boot scorer, do you mean Ballon d'Or?
See ball, hit ball.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm going to go to run off Van der Merwe.
Yeah.
I'm going to go third man.
Yeah.
At the boundary.
Yeah.
Deep square, just behind.
Safety first.
Yeah, throwing a few into the slot or you get them in the hole. What a hit that was, Tom. Enjoy that?
Yeah, that's good fun.
Yeah, Behind the Wyvern, well worth the watch. I don't know if you saw that, Sam. The first episode is about 10 minutes long. Ollie Sale with the camera. Actually doing a really good job with the camera. He's got a career there if he fancied it, but just a really great insight into what goes on here behind the scenes.
I did have a look, and I love that kind of thing because it's the kind of place that, with the greatest respect, you or I are never going to be. And there are plenty of people that see at the Somerset Cat and Curry Club that do seem to have to hold a camera and be in front of the camera. And great to see Ollie Sale actually was out running, and I think he was doing a bit of bowling on the pitch before the game, which, you know, we might see him before the end of the season. Given his injury problems, that would be really nice. He was such a key part of this campaign last year.
Speak for yourself. If you're not waiting for the Somerset call-up, I am. I'm here in my full kit, waiting to see if I can get in there. Anyway, loads going on, as I mentioned. We should say that Jack Brooks, who was supposed to be up here with us, but has got some other important work to do on the pitch today. He has picked the charity that the money's going to be going for sixes today. So this is how it's going to work. Every six that gets hit, be it by Essex or Somerset, hopefully more by Somerset, there will be 50 quid that goes to Jack's chosen charity, which is the Children's Hospice Southwest. Really great charity. And for every ball that goes out of the ground, that's 150 quid for charity, which is great. Sam, I need you to help us choose this. Out of the ground, what are you going to be looking for? Because you're the one making the decision on that.
Well, yeah, of course. It's our call. I mean, they're going to be the obvious ones. If it's going into the river, I'm pretty sure that constitutes out of the ground. But I'm going to be looking a little bit for distance. Maybe if we're hitting kind of top sort of rows. I quite like a flat six, one that whistles. So if we get kind of one that fuds into a stand, well, wow, it's going to be difficult to fud one into the Colin Atkinson Pavilion. But that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. And we've got a really big boundary over here to our right, towards the Andy Caddick Pavilion as well. So I don't know if we need to be a bit more lenient without the ground on that side.
Yeah, there's plenty of cars parked there. I don't know if that's players, staff members, you know. Something to aim for the players to try and get 150 quid for charity. So it's the Children's Hospice Southwest, likely to make a fair bit of money depending on how many sixes and how big those sixes are. As well, we've got to talk about what's behind you here, Sam. You'll see this later on. We've got commentary box cam up and running, so we will be doing it later on. But just describe it for people who haven't seen it. In fact, you're going to see it on the screen in just a second.
Well, I have behind me this beautiful coloured wheel for a game called Trade In, Trade Out. So all through the week, people have been sending in their details to enter the competition, and we're going to call one person chosen at random during the break between play, and should that person pick up, they will be offered, well, they will win a Somerset shirt as voted by yourself. Actually, they won't win that one. COVID times wouldn't allow that anyway. They won't win that one, but now here is the exciting thing. They can either stick with their Somerset shirt, a fine prize, an excellent prize, or they can gamble. We can spin the wheel. I think we're going to have Charlie in, another Charlie from Trade Nation, to help us spin the wheel, and should it land on one of the tees, they will also win £250. That's in addition to their Somerset shirt. However, there's a twist. If we land on a segment's the right word, I think, isn't it? Hasn't got a T on it, then they will lose. They won't win the £250, but they will also lose their Somerset shirt. So maybe they'll be trying to find you on the way home, trying to bite yours off you.
Trust me, even in non-COVID times, you wouldn't want this one after I've been wearing it. Yeah, really good. So it's like a stick or twist kind of game. So it's you get the shirt as long as you pick up and say, you know, what the right things. And then if you want to gamble, you can. 50-50 chance. If you get it, if you're right when you gamble and you get that landing on a tee, 250 quid plus the shirt. If you miss it, then you have to say goodbye to the shirt as well. So we're here. We're at Taunton for this T20 encounter. Crowds are back, and we have really missed you. It wasn't the same last year, commentating here on the T20 Blast, Somerset. In what was the central group there, slightly unusual T20, shortened campaign last year. Wasn't the same. Yes, the lights were on, we had loads going on, but actually without the crowd it's just not the same. You mentioned there about atmosphere, in particular on those tied games. You know, a tied game is a really exciting thing and really great finish, but without a crowd in, it's, you know, it could be cricket going on down your local park. You know, obviously the quality's still there, but it's that atmosphere is what changes a game from being, you know, good to being really great and enthralling, which is hopefully what we'll see today.
So much of it, and particularly in these shorter format games. I think the players noticed it as well. They've all played county championship cricket in front of, you know, a few spectators, but they've also all played second team cricket and growing up playing red ball stuff in front of very few people. But actually it's these T20 games on nights like this, well, one we're going to have tonight, but so many nights at Taunton and everywhere else where the crowd really helps lift it. I remember Jim Troughton was talking, I spoke to him when he joined Somerset a bit earlier in the season, and he remembered fondly being sprayed with something that wasn't water and might have had alcohol in it by a super soaker by the Somerset crowd, which he particularly enjoyed. And Max Waller, you know, he loves his fielding, and he loves fielding on the boundary because actually the buzz he gets from taking a catch in front of them, and I'm thinking back to that A.B. de Villiers grab a few years ago, well, that was quite something. Although he says that's not the best catch he's ever taken, which is an intriguing one. But yeah, without the crowd, it's not quite the same. It never can be the same. It's still brilliant cricket, but we've got them back, so we don't need to worry about it too much.
It's quite emotional watching those games, especially the 2019 games, which still feel pretty recent. But you see a packed house, you see the atmosphere, the crowd, and it just feels like such a long time ago, really, on what we've gone through since then. But things are improving, as we've said. We've got a crowd of about 25% in tonight, so that will be around 2,000 fans. All of those are members. In fact, they've been oversubscribed to come to this game, so there's been a ballot which has had to be run to choose which members can come in. And if you're not lucky enough to be one of those, then we've got you covered right here on the live stream, so don't miss that. We're bringing you every ball live with you right through to the end of the game, and hopefully a Somerset win, a strong start to the campaign with any luck. Now, it does look like the toss is taking place. A couple of the umpires there alongside Lewis Gregory and Simon Harmer, who are going to be the captains, checking what they're going to do. We will bring that to you as soon as we can. So we've got our eye on the toss, and we will find out very shortly exactly who is doing what straight away. Now, the rain came back very briefly. It is still spitting, but the sun is out. It's an unusual, it's such a dry day all day, and as soon as we get towards any cricket being played, suddenly the clouds have decided it's time to rain. We'll have looked at the radar. Doesn't look like it's going to be affecting the overs, fingers crossed.
It's like being back at school, Charlie. Remember playing school cricket and all day it would be sunny, you'd be looking up in the skies, and then as it came towards the last period it would inevitably start raining. But yes, well, we see this sight so often in an English summer, we should be used to it by now. But we prefer clear blue skies, but I'm sure we will get, it looks like we're going to get a game on time. Certainly they're going to, if they're doing the toss now, then 6:30 start looks like a good bet.
Yeah, as we can see on the screen there, the umpires just having a chat to the captains ahead of the toss. I mean, the groundsmen aren't worried about it. They've got the pitch covered, but other than that, they're not worried about covering up run-ups or anything along those lines. So I think they're just keeping the rain, the little rain that we've had, off it. So don't worry. We are at the moment very confident that we'll be bringing you a full T20 game, which is what we want to see. We don't want a curtailed match here, do we? Straight away, straight after all that time since the last time fans were able to watch. So this is back to the normal format. Just to update you, if you haven't been keeping an eye on the changes, last season was a bit different. There were 3 groups. We're back to just the 2 groups this year, a North group and a South group. Teams will play 14 games, so you're not playing everyone twice. There's a couple of teams that you'll only play once, and so Somerset in the South group looking to make their way through to a quarter-final, ideally a home quarter-final, but a quarter-final, which will then see them through to finals day on the 18th of September. At Edgbaston as normal. So
of course, where else?
Exactly.
The home of T20 finals day.
Back to the 2019, same format as the 2019.
Jake, I think is that Mike Burns out there, former Somerset man umpiring? It may well be. Looks like him. I think he was one of Somerset's first T20 captains way back when, the early days when he played. I think he played about 5 games in 2003, 2004, and no one really knew what was going on.
It's funny looking back on the games then, how much T20 cricket has changed now, and you know, county cricket has been doing it now for what, 18, 19 seasons is this now, since 2003 I think it was. So
yes.
Actually tactics, looking at there, have had to change. The scores have got bigger and consistently bigger. Somerset a side these days that would, you know, quite confidently say they would hit 200 plus with their team there. It looks like the toss has taken place. It's Simon Harmer who's the first to be spoken to, so I'm guessing he's probably won the toss. We'll wait to see. We will bring you that as soon as we've got it here. We'll find out what they're doing as soon as we can as well. Keeping an eye on Lewis Gregory there, the captain, who looks like he's doing an interview for the Behind the Wyvern series there with Ollie Sale and his camera straight into Lewis's face after the toss. So we'll find out. I'm sure we'll be able to see this bit on Behind the Wyvern, the next episode of that. So loads here on the stream to bring you. Looking forward to finding out very shortly which captain has won the toss and what they've decided to do. What would you do, Sam, looking at? You've had a quick look at the pitch from up here, not right up close to it.
No, I haven't been up close, and we'll have Steve Kirby, of course, giving us a rundown on the pitch report.
So, confirmation there, Essex winning the toss as we thought, and they've chosen to bowl first. So we'll see Somerset's batting. We've talked about there briefly about their strong batting lineup. Somerset will bat first and be setting Essex a target. What do you make of that, Sam?
Well, I will bow down to Simon Harmer's superior knowledge, because he saved me, that information saved me from saying I'd have batted first, which is inevitably the way. Different lineup for Somerset this year. We've got something a bit different coming up. James Hill just going to open up with Tom Banton and Rudolf van der Merwe up there. Well, we think he's going to bat at 3, which I'm quite excited about. We all know how capable Rudolf is at destructive power hitting, but coming down a bit, it's a very different game down the order, and often at the top you can dictate the game, whereas if you're coming in at 6 or 7, the game is often dictated by you. So I'm looking forward to seeing Rudolf up there. Be interesting to see if he has a look at it for a couple of balls or if he just goes straight away. But
yeah, well, that's the thing, you get that licence, don't you? If you're coming in with 4 overs to go or less, no one's going to be cross if you think, well, he tried to go straight from the off, he got out, fair enough. Quite often with Roloff that isn't the case. He keeps going and pulling out all sorts of unusual shots. At the top of the order there is a bit of responsibility there. You don't want to use up too many balls, but actually you do want to help your middle order batters get to a platform for them to kick on from. So do you think we will see a difference if he is in fairly soon as number 3?
I think in the first 6 overs, I think he'll have a bit of licence. I mean, he's a very, very experienced international cricketer, so I think we will see some responsibility. But he's definitely, if you look at what we've got Hildreth, who's going to hopefully, you'd imagine, try and anchor the innings and be there for as long as possible. And Tom is more than capable of power hitting, but he scores in funny areas. So you've got that top 4 potentially of Tom Banton and Rudolf van der Merwe providing the power hitting, and then Hildreth and Tom Abel knurling it around. So I think it's a very good combination to have, and I'm looking forward to seeing Tom Banton. He had such a good year a couple of years ago, him and Babar Azam opening the batting. I was saying to you earlier, the one game I got to see that season, because I live in London, I turned up and inevitably, and they scored so many runs building up to it, they both got out quite quickly.
That was a sensational season for those two as an opening partnership, and there was a real camaraderie between the two of them as well, walking out together. It was great to see 2 young players who will almost certainly be meeting each other a lot on the international scene as well. Now then, it's a brand new T20 season, and what that means is that we will be seeing teams in their new kits. I'm very lucky to be wearing a Somerset kit. I'm still waiting for the call-up. That's essentially why I'm here wearing this. Jack Brooks can do it, why not me? Let's have a look at how that kit was announced.
Boys, I'm fed up with previous kit launches. They're the same thing every year. Inside indoor school, no lights, cameras, smoke machines. It's just boring. Come on, let's come up with something much better.
100% Maxi. Let's think outside the box, boys. I reckon we can get something exciting here.
No smiles, no drones.
Yes, no smiles fits in about right with you, Ruler.
It's the same thing every year though, no smiling. We're always serious. There's no like fun about it. Think outside the box, think further afield. Don't just think about facial expressions. Anything for me, Craig?
Nah, nothing for you, mate. It's
Come on.
a bit silly now, isn't it?
Even Craig's heard that through the headphones. Guys, we've been here 2 hours now and not one person's come up with a good idea. All we've got on this board is no. It's a joke. We've got the cameraman here. Let's just launch the kit now.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. I'll save us a lot of time. Craig?
What's this?
All we've got is no.
Yeah, let's get on with it. We've been here for 2 hours, nothing else to do.
Yeah, we're going to launch it now. Okay, deal?
Yeah, fine.
You have to just hold it and see.
Yeah, I'll just hold it.
Hold there, you hold it here.
Easy to hold. Just
Hold it. Hold it there. And
Yeah.
you guys hold it there.
put it back.
We'll squat down here.
Squat. Just give it the big. Can we give a serious face? No.
Yeah, should we do
Not
serious?
happy face.
Is it supposed to the budget? Yeah. Okay, that's real good.
Again, nailed it.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. A lot of time on the meeting room there. Those guys coming up with this shirt, how to announce it. We saw from Craig Overton, Max Waller, Marchant de Langer in there as well. It's great. So if you want to see the full video of that, you can do. It's on the Somerset Cricket YouTube channel. You can see everything you need on there. Right, we're getting towards match time, 20 minutes away from the start. Good news is the rain has now left, which is good. There's some shadows out on the pitch for the players who are still out there practicing, and some of the ground staff just coming on to get the wickets set up. In the meantime, let's speak to Charlie Rowe. Charlie is from Trade Nation. Charlie, great to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening, gentlemen. Great to be here.
This is your first T20 match. This is your first experience of T20.
It is, yeah. I'm really excited actually. It's great seeing all the fans here and experience myself being on the Thatcher's Terrace. So, yeah, it's really excited about it. It's such a great buzz about the place today.
Yeah, and this is with the 25% crowd in. Imagine it with 100%, which hopefully will be happening a little bit later in the year, all being well. So for you, with Trade Nation, with the cricket, why is it so important for you to be part of what's going on here?
Yeah, well, you know, we've always said we're very proud to be sponsors of Somerset. You know, it's a great community club, and yeah, it's got a special place in our hearts, and I think we're really looking forward to. You know, last year was in challenging times, but we got involved with the streams and etc. And this year, you know, as the VT earlier showed, you know, it's going up a level. So we're really excited. You know, we've got some in-ground activations happening as well when there's sort of more in the crowd. So yeah, we're looking forward to that, and yeah, it's great. And obviously Craig Overton as well, our ambassador. Very, very proud of Craig as well, what he's achieving. So yeah, it's great to be involved.
Well, it just shows how well he's doing. The fact he's not here is because he's done so well. He's in the England squad, and probably we'd say quite likely to play tomorrow against New Zealand, which is good news. So yeah, really great. And for you, where are you going to be watching from? Are you in us with the commentary box here? Are you going to be able to go down and see, taking a bit of the atmosphere outside as well?
I think, yeah, I've been given a license to roam, which is nice. So yeah, floating around here. I'm hopefully going to spin the wheel a couple of times for you guys later on. Go down to the terrace as well and just sort of get a bit close to the action. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And for those of our viewers and listeners who might not know, can you tell us a bit more about Trade Nation as a business and what you do over there?
Trade Nation, yeah, we're a fresh approach to trading, really, as you can sort of see on our tag. Yeah, we're a big believer in education and nice hard work and education to trading, and we're sort of like I say, a fresh approach to trading, if you like, and we give plenty of content on our website with how to trade, advice. Really, you know, we really want to give our users a support network as well, which is very important to us. So yeah.
And speaking of fresh approaches, I mean, it's a relatively new role for you. You joined them only a couple of months ago. How's it all been? How's it going? And how's it been joining it? Starting a new job in COVID times must be interesting. Is probably the word.
Yeah, it's been great. You know, it's a great company to work for. You know, I'm really sort of looking forward to the future with that. You know, getting involved with Somerset, and also we've got a great ambassador program as well. If you follow us on Twitter, you'll see Max Whitlock was announced recently, which was great. Obviously a gold medalist. It's great. So yeah, it's great, it's exciting, like you say, it's homework and office work, and so it's been a challenge, but got a great team, so it's great.
Tough. Could be worse places to come to work, couldn't there, of an
evening? Absolutely.
Charlie, great stuff, thanks very much. Enjoy the game. Charlie Rowe there from Trade Nation. You can find out more on their website and on social media as well. Sam Dowling alongside me, Charlie Taylor, and Sam, we're getting ready now. Pitch is clearing. This is always the moment of sort of anticipation. It starts to build, doesn't it? You realise, you know, once all the nets have been taken off, the covers are there, have been removed, the wickets set up. Very exciting. Let's take a look at how the teams match up. Today we'll start off with Somerset. See the home side, of course, how they're doing. Here we go. So look at that top two there, Banton, and now seeing Hildreth there too. So with Hildreth as an opener, how do you expect that to go, Sam?
It's an interesting move. It's not necessarily one we'd have expected. Perhaps he did open a couple of days ago, so there were rumours in the second 11. But I think an interesting move. He can definitely. He's Somerset's highest ever T20 run scorer, and he's just such a quality player. So I see the thought process behind that. Actually, someone who can anchor the innings, as I said before, and maybe if he's there 15 overs in, he'll be on a decent score. I remember seeing him get 100 here in 2012. You don't have to be hitting massive sixes to score runs in T20.
No, James absolutely is one of those players who will nerdle it around in a T20 if he needs to. He can, of course, hit the sixes as well. We've already spoken a bit about Van der Merwe there in a new role at number 3. Abel and Byram, number 4 and 5 there. Byram, who in T20 cricket completely reinvented himself, became a huge hitter. It's not something that we'd seen much of him in red ball cricket. Gregory, the captain, all-rounder at 6. Ben Green coming into the side. Marchant de Lange, new signing as well. I mean, he could be a very useful death bowler for Somerset.
He really could, and he bowled beautifully at the weekend. I know it's a different format completely, but actually, after a difficult start to the season, they put a lot of work into him, and he's worked really hard over the last few weeks. And I think he's it's a cliche, that point of difference, that 90-mile-an-hour bowler, which in county cricket is so rare. So I think we're very lucky to have him, and he can hit a long ball with a bat as well.
Certainly can. He's been doing it in red ball cricket briefly there. Davy Brooks making a T20 debut for Somerset, and Waller, who is a bit of a stalwart in the side. Let's quickly look through Essex then. You can see on screen there Captain Simon Harmer leading the side, including Wesley, Wheater, Pepper, Walter, Ryan Tenduscarter, who has been a fantastic player in this format for many years. Jimmy Neesham there from New Zealand, great player of the white ball. Saw him in the World Cup final doing pretty well in that super over, I seem to remember. Plom, Nijar, Cook and Porter finishing off the side. Who are we looking out for there, Sam? Who do you think could be real key players for Essex?
I'm looking forward to seeing Michael Pepper bat. He played a 4-day game up at Durham. He hasn't played much cricket in the first team, but got a beautiful 92. And actually, it was one of those pitches where he sussed out quite quickly that trying to hang around wasn't going to work for him. So he flashed at a few that he played and missed at, but also played some beautiful attacking strokes. Naturally, Neesham, Tenduscarter, 41 years young, or he will be at the end of this season, still going. Aaron Nijar, I think, is a good bowler. Harmer gets all the plaudits as the spinner, but Nijar, I think he came in when they won it. The semi-final, I think I'm right in saying, was his T20 debut for the club. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'm trying to work out what the batting order is going to be. I wonder if we might see Paul Walter, who's a very, very tall left-hander at the top of the order. He's done it a bit in red ball cricket. He's one of those who either opens the batting or bats 7 or 8, and I wonder if we might see him open up too. And he's one of my favourite cricketers. I don't know, you know, get cult figures. Paul Walter is one of those, and I saw him last week. He got taken out of the attack for bowling 2 beamers.
Oops. Okay, well, we will see if that has been rectified by the time we get going. Just a bit of practice going on the pitch at the moment. One of the practice pitches here. It looks an absolute picture to be back here with you. The Quantock Hills ahead of us, which I'm sure we'll mention a few times over the coming weeks, but it's so great to be back, seeing the skyline of Taunton around us, and some new things on the skyline as well. This massive car park which they've built near the station, very obvious here. I wouldn't say it's the most beautiful part of the Taunton skyline, but there it is, as part of the station, and it just is great to be back. And you can hear the atmosphere building. There's some music going on around the ground. Stumpy the dragon down there is wandering around. COVID precautions, no selfies right up close this year, sadly, but there he is wandering around, enjoying the crowds, and it's great to see people back. Now then, looking out on the pitch, it's a bit of a green one. Sam, what do you make of that?
There is very much a tinge of green in it. Hopefully, as long as it plays true and a bit quick rather than a slow, low one. We managed to. Well, we got a few of those last year, wouldn't it? Which made run scoring quickly more difficult. But to tell us more about it, I don't think we've got a finer man to do it. He's returned to Somerset in the winter. He's the first 11 bowling coach. A wonderful character. I saw him down with Ben Warren on the camera filming the pitch report. He was getting very animated, so I'm looking forward to hearing from Steve Kirby, who's going to tell us all about the pitch.
Hi everybody, it's Steve Kirby here from Somerset County Cricket Club. It's an absolute pleasure to be back here for what is going to be an unbelievable tournament, hopefully for Somerset to be successful here in the T20. Having a look actually at the game today, I understand that it was Steve Snell that was, looks like he's been demoted and you've got me instead. Now as a player I had no idea what it was like to judge a pitch, so I've got no idea what it's going to be like here as a coach, but I'll give it my best shot. And having a look down at the wicket today, I think actually everybody here at the grounds. Somerset, you know, with Scotty and all of the groundsman staff have been producing some fantastic pitches for all of our championship cricket, and there is no reason to think that this is going to be any different. It's a fresh wicket. It's not a hybrid wicket. Normally in the championship we leave about 10 mil of grass on it. He assures me there's about 8 mil of grass. It's got a nice little green tinge to the pitch, which I think will keep the live grass on there, and I think that will give us some nice pace in those pitches. And I'm knowing full well when there is a little bit of live grass on the wicket, that it does keep a good pace in the wicket. So I think tonight, I think we're going to have a run fest. I think it's going to be bowlers on your money. You've got to be making sure that you can execute, but I think if you bowl in the right areas, you'll be able to keep the batters at bay. I really do think we're going to be in for a really good treat. Having a look down at the wicket, you can see there's a really good even covering of grass. I'm not quite sure Scotty will be too impressed if I start putting my keys in the pitch, so I'll probably leave that away. But as you can see all the way through, it's a beautiful, beautiful pitch. Now we're pretty central here. In fact, it's one over from the hybrid wicket. I think if you have a look at the dimensions, there's not a great deal of breeze. There is a slight breeze coming across the pitch. The longer side of the ground is that side, which is about 70. I think this side is around about 60, 64. And then straight you've got about 54, 55, I think, something along those lines. So yeah, I think all in all, I think we're in for a really good treat of a wicket tonight. Obviously I hope that, you know, personally, that Somerset can come out there on top and hopefully, like I said, start the ground running, which is the way we've been playing all of our cricket this year, which is some really attacking brand. So good luck to everybody tonight, and it's absolutely wonderful to have you all back here.
Tango, Steve Kirby there doing the pitch report. So that's what we can expect from that. I mean, yes, the general feeling of the pitch does make a difference, but in 20 overs it doesn't make as big a difference as it would in a 4-day game. But still important to get an idea of what to expect. 'Cause those first batsmen, you don't get a chance to sort of hang around and see what it's doing for too long. You have to make your decision quickly there. So it'll be fascinating to see how the openers, Banton and Hildreth, we expect, will get on that wicket. It looks like a pretty good wicket to me. It looks like a bit in there for the bowlers, but flat enough that it should be there for some big hits as well, which in a T20 is kind of what you want, really. You want to see a little bit of both, just to try and get as much cricket into a 20-over game as you can, really. Bit of bowling, bit of batting. Sam, just looking over the ground here, the crowd in their seats. It's just a lovely scene, a lovely picture for Somerset fans to see the game being watched again in the flesh.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? It's just the excitement. People were here hours early. There were people that had come down. I mean, we were here a few hours earlier, and there were people just checking the ticketing arrangements. They were nervous. They didn't want it to not work. But the people were walking around the town. It finally, after what, 600 odd days for some of them. Maybe most of them got a day or two over the county championship game. But the cliche again. I keep using that, but you don't know what you've got until it's taken away from you, and people had it taken away from them last year. We all did, but to have it back, we can use it as a brilliant springboard, because we've realised how much love there is to cricket.
Do you know what? And if we're going to take benefits out of what's been a horrible situation, then that is it, isn't it? That maybe there's a more appreciation for stuff like this, not just cricket. Obviously, cricket's great and important, but for anything like that in life, where perhaps we took it for granted, perhaps those of us who have got through it like this won't take it for granted anymore. Speaking of that, I also, just for almost a disclaimer, I had my vaccine this morning, so if I start, talking drivel halfway through, I'm just going to blame that and say it's a side effect.
You said that every game last year, didn't you?
I did, yeah, and I'll be saying it every game this year. Still side effects. Okay, there's loads going on today. As we've said, we've heard the pitch report from Steve Kirby. We've been hearing how the T20 shirt was announced this year. Let's talk about the charity giving. It's really exciting. Every single six that gets hit will be either 50 quid or 150 quid for charity. Let's hear from the player who's chosen it, the player we thought would be up with us here in the box today, but in fact he'll be bowling in front of us, Jack Brooks.
Hi guys, it's Jack Brooks here, and today it's my chosen charity of choice in association with Trade Nation. I'm delighted to announce it is Children's Hospice Southwest, fantastic little charity, and they'll be receiving all the money from today's game. It's 50 quid for every six and £150 every time the ball gets hit out the ground.
Jack Brooks there, Children's Hospice Southwest, and it'll be Sam to my right who will be calling those shots, whether they're out of the ground or not quite. So we will wait to see how many of those will happen. Now out on the pitch in front of us, this is really important. Both sets of players all out in their kits ready to start, but there is going to be a moment of unity between the Essex Eagles and Somerset here today, including the umpire staff as well. A moment of unity. Cricket is a game for everyone. Really important to remember that, and it's great to see so many people been playing and enjoying cricket throughout what has been very difficult times. In particular, I will always remember watching those games inside the biosecure bubbles at Hampshire and in Manchester last year. Really important to see that, and inspiring people to keep going. And actually I've been speaking to quite a few village clubs here in the county saying they've seen an upturn in people wanting to get involved during that period, which is, you know, quite amazing. I think some of them were concerned about that. So great to know that cricket continues to be such an important way of bringing people together across the county. It's Sam Dalling and me, Charlie Taylor, bringing you this game as the players now, the Essex team, bring themselves onto the field together. Of course, they won the toss, chosen to field. They're going to have a bowl first, while it will be the Somerset opening batsman, Tom Banton, and newly promoted James Hildreth, Somerset's all-time leading T20 scorer, who will be opening up. And Sam, this could be a cracker to get us going in the T20s this year.
I really hope so. I think it will be, as we said before, there's always a little bit of extra edge when Somerset play Essex, and you want to get off to a bit of a flyer in the competition. And the way it's structured this year, I think everything's done and dusted by about the 18th of July. So actually there are so many games in quick succession, and this format is very much one about momentum. So actually suddenly you only need to have a bad 4 or 5 days, you've lost 3 on the spin, and momentum is against you, and you can be really struggling. So getting off to a flyer is really important.
Yeah, and Essex, of course, winners at this competition in 2019, so they have very good recent history. Somerset, not quite so much. The last time they won it was 2005, been to plenty of finals days in that time, but most recently in 2018, but we will see how they get on. Somerset certainly have got some very good strengths in them, and it will be Tom Banton who will face the first ball. And the Somerset fans here waiting for almost 2 years to watch T20 cricket. Unbelievably, that doesn't really seem real, does it, saying that? But here we go. We're on the live stream. We're bringing you this coverage of Somerset against Essex Eagles. Just a moment as we wait for everything to be set and ready.
I'm going to see a bit of Aaron Najar up first, but a slow left arm spin from the river end.
First ball around the wicket, and that will be just played nicely into the leg side there. A single to start us off today. Nice and safe shot there from Banton, not getting carried away first ball.
It's got to be nice, isn't it? The relief. You just want to get off the mark, off that 0. So there's a big gap there as well. The 2 fielders outside the boundary are at long on and deep mid wicket, so there's definitely plenty of room. Hildreth's quite a quick runner too, so there's room to push that spinner into there.
He certainly is. He against his years really, Hildreth. One of the senior statesmen on this side. Hildreth this time just playing it forwards, back to the bowler, so no run there. And so far Essex will be pretty pleased with this. Hildreth opening up for Somerset. He waits again, and he uses his feet, and he's missed it. I think is that taking an edge because it went past the keeper as well. They'll come back for a second. Yeah, 2 will do. Let's see if that was given as...
I think that might be runs.
There, yeah, there must have been a slight edge. It missed the stumps, but can't have been by much.
Well, I was about to say Hildreth is one of Somerset's best players of spin, which probably makes sense him opening because there's always likely to be a spinner opening up in T20.
So it'll be Hildreth again facing, and this time using his feet again, just playing it backwards, fine on the leg side, and there is just the single that time. So nothing too confident yet from Somerset. We've seen them Hildreth using his feet the last couple of shots, but yet to really get going. Again, as you say, that spin to start, quite a commonly used thing. We'll probably see Somerset do that with Waller, I would have thought. Certainly they were doing it last year. Nijar in again. This time to Banton, who is using his feet and playing it nicely over mid-wicket for 6. 50 quid in the pot for the Children's Hospice Southwest. Nice looking shot, Tom Banton.
It really was, and what a start. And I think we got a catch in the crowd as well, safely held. What a moment. You wait 2 years, there's no rustiness from that member of the crowd.
Let's have a look as we see this back. Oh, well taken, sir. Just over his right shoulder, didn't have to move. Look at that, you've got COVID spacing in there and still it comes right to you.
I think I'd have got scared though, I think. I never want it to come to me.
Oh, don't tempt them because they'll play the clip of me dropping it against Glamorgan. In comes Nijar again to Banton, who's flicking it this time through the cover region. That's 4. Banton picking up 10 runs from the last 2 balls and what turned out to be a very good opening over for Somerset.
Yeah, it was a poor ball, that last one. It was a full toss really. Banton used his feet, but I don't think it would have pitched anyway and got what it deserved.
Yeah, through the extra cover region. Nice looking shot from Tom Banton. A slap really more than anything, just making the most of that full toss. So 16 off the first over. Somerset's T20 season starting almost as we expected really, with someone like Tom Banton there, and we know he's got the skills. The timing is what really can get you with Tom Banton. The way he plays, especially off his legs, it's beautiful. But 2 fantastic shots from Banton. No real risk involved with either of those, even though that 6 was over a player at deep mid-wicket. Actually, plenty of there on a shortish boundary.
It just shows how quickly T20 can change there. We were talking about a sedate start, 1 off 2. And here we go. And we've got Jamie Porter then from this end. Starts with a short one, pulled out, but there is a man out there at deep square leg. I think it's Paul Walter who's going to chuck that one in to Adam Wheater behind the stumps. Essex in there. I really like their kit actually. It's very smart, that blue, yellow and red combo. Porter, he's been one of their leading bowlers for a number of years now. Came into the game a little bit late. He was on the MCC Young Cricketers programme at Lords and came through that, but has been a fine performer, worked his way up. Played some England Lions. I think he got into a test squad once, but never quite went further. But anyway, he's here at the Cooper Associates County Ground, bounding in. And flicked into the leg side there from Banton. They'll take a single. Man scrambles across at short mid-wicket.
Yeah, sort of just on the back of the kit there. It's sort of like a primary colours show, isn't it? It's like, we'll just shove all the primary colours in there. Bit of yellow, bit of red, bit of blue. Do
you think that's what happened? They just click on an auto-generate button?
They've got a group of 8-year-olds who just learned the primary colours and they thought, there we go.
You can put them whichever order you like. One slip in. He'll just gets on the back foot and just plays that away towards the man. It's kind of a short backward point.
There'll be teachers who'll be like, 8 years old, primary colours, come on. They're slightly better than that at 8 years old.
We've got Simon Harmer sprinting. I'm being generous and calling it a sprint from his position at first slip. So already they've decided there's not going to be much chance of getting the outside edge. So maybe there's not as much pace on the pitch as we might have hoped. So Harmer's come to mid-off here.
Yeah, it did seem like there was a bit of turn on offer for Nijar from the other end, but maybe not quite so much here.
Hildreth on strike, dances down the track, and he's kind of creamed that through cover. It wasn't a traditional cover drive, it was a couple of paces towards Porter, and that's raced away. First boundary for Hildreth.
Yeah, lovely looking shot that, typical Hildreth. A little bit away from his body, but finding that gap through the covers. Lovely shot.
He's so good to watch in full flow, isn't he?
Yeah, he just gives himself space. That's what I like. It's very classic Hildreth. The bat is angled. He just takes a bit of a step away to give him that room to bring his arms through it.
Again, Hildreth on the back foot, and that's a beautiful shot. That's a more traditional shot. He just cut that away. Number 18, who we've got diving away at backward point. Couldn't get anywhere near it. That's 4 runs. Back-to-back boundaries for Hildreth.
Yeah, 2 classic Hildreth shots, and this is the sort of thing that maybe Hildreth, I don't know if he's asked to go at the top of the order, but when you've got the power play going on, if you're in there from the start, there are always gaps and lots of them to pick out, in particular if you're going aerial, but even if, like Hildreth, along the ground like that.
Porter again. Fuller ball, it strikes Hildreth on the pad, thinks about a run. Looked like it was going well down the leg side. Bowler keeper wasn't interested at all. Good finish to the over there from Jamie Porter. Somerset 24 for none off 2.
Yeah, just cutting him down a little bit there, keeping him tight on space, Hildreth, so not giving him that room which he'd made the most of the last couple of balls, that width that he'd been capitalising on. It's 24 for no loss here at Taunton under what is now lovely skies as the sun comes out. Already the shadows look surprisingly long for midsummer. At what time are we on now? Only just coming up towards 25 to 7. I think we must have started early. It's only 5 minutes in technically, with 2 overs through already.
It's good to get through the overs quickly. You know, we see it so often, so much criticism for slow over rates.
Absolutely. This is Banton on strike now, flicking it onto the leg side. Oh, that's 4 runs. No one there. And Banton making the most of a useful ball for him from Jack Plom. Bowling this over. Change already. Quite regularly you see this now. Just the 1 over of spin to start off an innings. Seems to be the fashion in T20 these days. So Plom comes on and straight away giving Banton one, which he loves that on his legs. I mentioned it earlier. Just that space, especially when there's no one backwards of square deep on the leg side. And this time coming forwards, that is not quite so confident from Banton. Well, I would say the confidence was probably fine. It wasn't executed as well as the first one. Just a bit of a slice into the third man region.
You can see already the different game plans. Hildreth and Banton's going aerial. He's the aggressor of the two, and Hildreth is still scoring quite quickly, but playing his more traditional shots, as you said, using the fact that there are only 2 fielders allowed outside the ring in these first 6 overs to his advantage.
Plom, then what can he do this time? And Banton giving himself room, just going over the top, and that will be 4 easy runs for Tom Banton, picking up pretty much off the stumps, it looked like from here. We're not quite in line, but just aerially over cover, and it's another 4 runs. Banton having no real trouble finding the boundary so far. Great to watch.
Well, certainly the crowd that have been waiting, they've been treated to a flurry of early boundaries, which is what we like to see. Oh, and have we got a free hit? I think we might have got a no ball.
Yeah, looks that way. In fact, you can hear the the crowd enjoying the entertainment on offer. So this is a free hit. So for those new to T20, Hildreth, who is on strike, can't be caught out from this delivery, and he does go a little bit aerial, but he's found a gap. Oh, it's beautiful placement from Hildreth. Absolutely beautiful. Found a gap, played it through the covers just outside the dive of Walter, and another 4 runs onto the total for Somerset.
Been missing a trick for 18 seasons, haven't we, with James Hildreth down the order?
Absolutely. Well, you say 18 seasons, it is pretty much that long with Hildreth, who hit the winning runs in the 2005 final.
He did indeed. He's almost played every game.
Yeah, he
I think he
has.
played a ridiculous amount of consecutive games where he got dropped in that 2012 run.
Hildreth again, this time using his feet, coming forwards. That's high, and it's big as well. Into the Lordian Botham stand. 6 more runs. Hildreth not worried about keeping that one along the ground over the long on boundary. Lovely stuff, James Hildreth.
Yeah, I mean, what I said a few minutes ago about him being playing traditional shots and not being the aggressor, he obviously heard that and decided that he's going to do something very different. That was beautiful. And when he gets going, he's had a tough year, tough run of things, but actually maybe playing in a game like this with a bit more freedom. I'm not going to say there's no pressure, but he's got a bit more of a license to play his shots without necessarily the criticism that might come him playing his natural way in a red ball game. So it's great to see, and a wonderful start for Somerset.
He's on to 25 already, Hildreth, as Plom is in, and he's doing the same again. That's more runs. This is going to be 6 again. Over the river stand, into the river itself. Sam, I'm looking at you because...
Well, that one's out the ground.
It has to be.
It's not even commentators. Cool, it'd be a very harsh commentator to call that, because that has literally gone over the top of the river stand, as you said, and that is £150 heading towards Children's Hospice Southwest.
Fantastic charity to get that money, but let's talk about the cricket there. Hildreth, I've watched in so many T20s here. That is not a typical Hildreth T20 shot over long on for 6 into the river. This is a different Hildreth we're watching.
Well, we said it, it's a day for the older players. Jack Brooks is making his T20 debut for Somerset, and James Hildreth bang at the top of the order, and even...
Great to watch this. Hildreth there, the first one out of the ground. He's on to 31. I tell you what, he's showing Tom Banton how to do it at the moment. Who's more likely to get the England call-up from these two? Well, on this, you'd say Hildreth. That looks like it's bounced quite high, yeah, and given us a no ball. Bit short from Plom.
The Hildreth England debate is another.
Yeah,
is a longer one.
Well, on this, I mean, if he's in this form, there's a T20 World Cup this year. I don't know if there's a space for an opener, but
well,
Hildreth could make himself a bit of a no. I think got my tongue in my cheek really here. He's, I think he knows he's unlikely to happen, but
I don't know. You
never say never.
Look at Darren Stevens. Hildreth's got another 10 years left. Then he might reinvent himself as a bowler. Because that 2005 T20 win, he actually bowled a fair bit of little medium pace. Graham Smith must have quite liked it. The little dibbly dobblers with the keeper up.
So Plom again to Hildreth, who's having great fun out here. Let's see if the bowler can get some revenge. Oh, nearly, and he's just got an edge there as he's taking it past the keeper. That is about as fine an edge as you can get without the keeper catching you, I think. But Hildreth will take 4 more runs. Oh, great effort from the keeper, diving, but not enough to stop it. Hildreth picking up another 4. He moves on to 35. The score here after 3 overs, God, we've missed T20 cricket, is 57 for no loss.
It's a tough over for Jack Plom. Young lad, he only played about 5 games last year and played a few games the year before. Taunton's a difficult place to come and play T20 for a bowler because of the short boundaries. But yeah, what have we got? 33 off that over. That's it.
33.
Yeah. I can imagine he won't be getting a second after that one.
Yeah, and that is quite a demolition job done by Hildreth there. 57 for no loss with 3 overs in. Oh, T20, it's great to have you back.
Oh, it's wonderful. We've got a change of bowling here at the Marcus Trescothick Pavilion end as well. Got Sam Cook who digs one in short and Banton tries to pull it. It doesn't get hold of it, but it just lollops up and bounces in there. There's a man at deep square leg and a man coming round at short fine leg to do the fielding, so they take a single. Had square leg been there, would have been an easy catch. Banton's obviously thought, right, I've seen a bit of Hildy doing that. I mean, Sam Cook dug that one in. He doesn't bowl. Fine bowler Sam Cook doesn't bowl with any great pace. Hildreth then dances down the track, has a swipe and misses it. He looks at the umpire. Well, he's actually at point because of the sunshine, I would imagine. So he's looking for the no ball call, but no, 1 for the over. It was a good delivery there from Sam Cook. He saw James Hildreth coming down the track, and it's whistled through to Adam Wheater behind the stumps there.
Yeah, you can see why Hildreth wanted the umpire to have a look at that. It was quite high as it came through.
Hildreth comes down the track again. Cook a bit fuller, and he just drives that out towards short cover, straight at Ryan Tender-Sharter, who does the fielding. It's a good start this from Sam Cook, just the 1 off the 3 balls. He's arguably the leader of Essex's attack these days. He's only 22, 23, but he's been in such good form over the last couple of years. Got a 5 for in that Bob Willis Trophy final, so he's had some success against Somerset. Comes in again, slower ball. Hildreth had just hoiked that towards mid-on. There's no man down there. It's gone for a 1 bounce 4. Slower ball was from Sam Cook, but Hildreth read it and latched onto it. And just good start to the over, but James Hildreth is seeing it well out there.
It's so nice to watch Hildreth hitting runs. I know he hasn't had the season he would have wanted so far. Not to say he's had a terrible start in Red Bulls cricket, but I think he's had a couple of 60s in there. Not quite hitting them as well as he wanted, but here we are seeing them flow from his bat.
Comes in again, a short one. Hildreth pulls it. He doesn't get all under it, and Paul Walter takes the catch. That's the first wicket. So James Hildreth's innings has come to an end. He's made 39. Sam Cook dug one in. Paul Walter's probably the tallest man on the pitch there. He came in long boundary at deep square leg, so he started about 10 yards in. It was an easy catch, really. Somerset have lost their first wicket.
Yeah, I don't think fans can be too cross with the start that Hildreth has helped them make there. And just after I said it was nice to watch him score runs. Sorry about that, James. That was my fault. So Hildreth there, 35, including 2 6s and 5 4s. I mean, that is the perfect start. And that's 16 balls. He was out on the 16th ball, so 7 of them went for boundaries. 1 of them was the wicket. So, that's not a bad return, is it? As we see now a bit more of change in the T20 lineup for Somerset. They've clearly had a think and a bit of a shake-up here. They've clearly really thought about where best to put people, where their skills lie. And we've seen James Hildreth there doing a great job. And now it's Roloff van der Merwe, someone we've only really seen come in, say, around 7, 8, sometimes slightly higher.
He's not going to be on strike, so they cross. Tom Banton's going to face this one. Tries to flick it down the leg side, giving them wide. It was way down the leg side. I mean, there's no room for error down that leg side anyway. Unless that flicked the pad, it was a a certain wide from Sam Cook.
And this is something which bowlers have to adjust to, isn't it? Having played the red ball game where you can afford, some down the leg side. Actually here, it is hard on the bowlers. It's part of the game is that you have to bowl it on the offside or on the stumps.
Banton is short from Cook again, and he's pulled that straight to mid-wicket, who's taken the catch. Somerset have lost a second wicket inside 3 balls. Aaron Nijar there with that one. Tom Banton goes for 18.
Yeah, well, there we go. Now Essex right back in this. The 2 wickets falling in the 4th over. And Essex will feel actually 2 wickets down, at least by the end of the power play. Isn't such a bad place to be, even with those runs on the board. So Essex will now be feeling that they've got themselves a point to cling on to and work with in this game, having had a real difficult time to start with. So Banton probably slightly disappointed only to make 18 runs there. But the platform that he created with James Hildreth is a useful one as the red ball captain, Tom Abel, makes his way out. Of course, not captain in T20s, but had a very, very good season, averaging over 66, I think it is, with the bat in red ball cricket so far. His captaincy has been very good, leading Somerset to the top of the table despite a 8-point deficit. Of course, that can all change in white ball cricket. Very, very different disciplines. So let's see how these two get on. Very different players as well, we're about to see. Abel, full of beautiful shots, although does mix it up a bit with T20, very correct cricket shots. Van der Merwe, probably about as far the other way down the spectrum as you can get in county cricket, I think, who will find ways to score anywhere, including with roly-polies and all sorts of other acrobatics, which is great to watch.
It really is, and Tom Abel has done so well to reinvent himself almost. When he first broke through, and he's been around a while now.
It'll be Porter who comes in this one, just defended by Van der Merwe, getting down onto his knees to keep that one out.
That was very restrained.
It was, wasn't it? He's building up.
Yeah, Tom was always a it was always a red ball cricketer, opening batsman, classical opening batsman. But actually, in the last couple of years, I think he's surprised quite a few people. And it's testament to how hard he works on his game. But there's almost an Abel scoop in the game now. The way he finds the boundary, just flicking it over the wicketkeeper. He scores all around the ground. Has played in a few T20 tournaments now, so he's getting recognition in white ball stuff.
Porter then to Van der Merwe bowled. So Van der Merwe only lasting 2 balls has been bowled, and it is his leg stump, I think, which has come out. I think looking at it, it's always hard to tell once it's already come out. Maybe not. Maybe it's the off stump, but still out of the ground. And Van der Merwe goes back. So Essex right back in here. Looks like a very good ball hitting the top of it. Is off stump, hitting the top of off. There, that is a tough ball, and you can see Van der Merwe trying to keep out the first one. Well, needed to do that again with the second one. Not quite so lucky.
Yeah, that's why we love the game. Isn't it? You said you wanted runs and wickets, and we've got that 3 in 5 balls for Essex, and they needed that. It was a really, really brilliant start from Somerset, and they were in danger of letting the game get away from them, Essex, but they've come back well. Sam Cook and Jamie Porter with the wickets. I mean, 2 sons of Essex have been around the club. I think they may have played club cricket together at some point. I mean, imagine that in a... Maybe I could be wrong there, but imagine that in a club bowling attack.
Yeah,
these two.
Not great. Yeah, to face. I mean, that is some serious power. So it's going to be Eddie Byram, the new batsman. God, it does just remind you how quickly this game moves, doesn't it? It was, we're talking 57 for no loss at the end of 3. We're now 63 for 3, coming up to the midway point through the 5th over. So huge change quickly. T20 does that. You can be watching one game, take your eye off it quickly, and you're watching another game back as Porter's over the wicket and Byram playing this one into the covers. Nicely stopped there at cover. That was Nijar doing the fielding.
Somerset need to be careful here. Having what they have got, the luxury of having had that quick start, they can take a few overs because there is some rebuilding that needs to be done. If by the end of the power play, alright, it's not ideal to use 9 balls of the power play, not trying to score runs particularly quickly, but actually if we're 5 down, that could be a real issue. Yeah, and actually 63 is not a bad score at the end of a power play. As this one just pushed onto the leg side. That's a red ball shot there for a single. Nice looking run as Byram gets off the mark. Abel, who we just know how good a cricketer he is. If he's on form, if he's hitting it in the middle of the bat, then we could be in for some fireworks here. And they can still do those. As you say, a rebuild is not a bad thing here. It then gives you that time with the middle order. Somerset's pretty strong middle order to open up. Players like Lewis Gregory, Marchant de Lange would love to have a swing of the bat, I would think. So just that rebuild that Somerset need to do as Abel faces up for his first ball. It's a leading edge there, but he's safe. There's no run. Porter has really brought this back in for Essex. Great over so far, just the 1 run and a wicket from 5 balls of it. Yeah, so quickly can the the game turn. I think Tom's humility is what always strikes me when you see him. I saw him interviewed after the game at the weekend, and he was asked about England, higher honours, averaging 60, still scored all these runs. He said, his first response is, I've been a bit lucky, I've been dropped a few times.
Well, Porter in to finish off a good over for Essex. How can Abel he does sort of defend, pushing it. He was looking for a run, but no run available there. So great over for Essex. We've got 1 over left of the power play, 64 for 3. It's very hard, isn't it, in the especially the first game of a tournament. But 64 runs, Somerset. Do you think they'll be fairly happy seeing those runs there already on the board?
Yeah, it's one of those strange ones where both sides will be quite happy. Somerset got off to an absolute flyer, and as you said, 64 after 6 overs is not a bad score, even here at Taunton with the slightly smaller pitches. But then Essex have pulled it back. The last 9 balls have been excellent for them, those 3 wickets. So both sides will be happy. As we said, Sam Cook's going to continue from this end. He bowled a fine over first up, just went for the 6 runs and crucially picked up those 2 wickets, both openers to go. He bowled short. That's a well-directed bouncer. Eddie Byram is coming over the wicket to the left-hander, and Byram ended up leaving it quite well, actually. Just dropped his hands, flew across his body. I don't know, there's quite a nice sight, that, isn't it? That kind of bouncer where the batsman just has to take a bit of evasive action. Flew through to Wheater, so there is a bit of pace on this pitch. Cook again, though, short, and that's... what's that come off? It looked like it deflected. Maybe it was a slower ball. No wide signalled.
Yeah, I think that was a slower ball. We will have a look at the replay when it comes, but Byram reaching for it, failed to get anything on it. Keeper taking it. Had to move a little bit, the keeper there, to his left. So
we're not quite straight behind it, but it was the fact that Adam Wheater moved, but maybe actually didn't give Sam Cook enough credit for rolling his wrists on it. Short again and pulled by Byram. It was a good shot, but it's well fielded by the man at mid-wicket. Byram got right on top of that one and smashed it into the ground, but I think it's Najjar at mid-wicket scrambling across.
Tale of 2 halves so far, this power play. First 3 overs, Somerset completely dominant. Second 3 overs, wickets falling and struggling to find any gaps in the field now. Byram and Abel at the crease.
I've got to give credit for good bowling. I think it was Tender Shata rather than Najjar there. In again, and another good delivery from Sam Cook. Byram just gave himself some room to leg, and actually hasn't kind of missed the stumps by that much. Whistled through to Adam Wheater. He had a big old swing at it, Eddie Byram. You could see what he was trying to do. There's a gap between cover and short extra cover, but didn't get anything on it. And Sam Cook has definitely turned this power play around.
Yeah, it's been really good effort from Essex, the second half of the power play.
Cook again, full of ball, and Byram's got a little tickle. It's going to race away. He's going to get a boundary for that. I'm not sure if it's going to be a leg buys. No, he's got a little tickle on that. So it was a full ball. Looked maybe like a slower one too, but those are dangerous. You get them slightly wrong, and the batter can just get a little bit on it, and it's a boundary.
Lucky, he might have nutmegged himself here. Let's have a look, see if he's... Yeah, he did. I think it's gone through his legs. He's done what Nat Sivert does, the nutmeg as it's called, when she does it for the England side. Byram, I don't know if he meant to do it. It's pretty good if he did, just moving, giving him that space and getting an edge through his legs.
Well, we'll give him that credit. It's the first boundary Cook's conceded as he bowls again. Byram again gives himself some room to leg side. Gets hold of it this time, but it's straight to cover. End of the over, 68 for 3, so another good over there from Sam Cook. Just a 4 off it. He's conceded just 10 off his 2 overs and picked up those couple of wickets.
So how do we rate that then, the power play? End of the first power play of this 2021 season. What do you make of that? 68 for 3.
So 68 is a very good score. But actually, oddly, if you were just looking at the scorecard now, you'd be thinking, Somerset have done all right there. But actually, the momentum is very much with Essex. In the last couple of overs, they have turned the screws a little bit.
Yeah, so what's that? 11 runs from the last half of the power play. So that really is tight bowling from Essex. But loose, particularly in that over from Plom, which has given Somerset that platform. And actually, 68 for 3. Somerset are, you'd think they're happy with the 2. Although those 3 wickets are pretty good for Essex to have. So it will be Najjar again. 13 runs from his first over. Let's see how he manages here. Abel is the one shaping up to play it. Nice, proper looking drive through the cover area, square drive really for a single. 69 for 3 now, the score.
Well, Somerset's average score here in the Blast, and its previous iterations, is 168 batting first. So they're well on target for that, as long as they don't lose too many more wickets quickly. As we said, it's about consolidating now and having a bit of a partnership. These two need to spend a few overs in the middle together.
It's funny, if you said 168 from here, I'd say that would feel on the low side, I think, given this pitch. So they'll definitely have more than that in their sights from now. It'll be Byram now, having run with Abel on that single, and they're quite happy just to, well, they'll push for 2 and they'll get 2 here. Nice running, good gap that was spotted, and he'll keep the strike.
These two are both so quick as well between the wickets. Tom never turns a single down, and Eddie's the same.